Hey, good evening, guys. Well, welcome to our first Friday Fishing Fancast. And so, amen, an air conditioner just kicked on. That's awesome. So, I figured I would start doing these little live streams on Friday evenings, get you guys kind of to come in, join the conversation. So, I'm actually going to start, going through rigging some tackle, rigging some rods for tomorrow. But kind of go through some baits that I recently bought at a local tackle shop. We may even try to big news in the fishing industry, that being the MLF and FLW merger. I don't know where you stand on that. I'd love you guys to comment. Let me know where you kind of stand on that merger. So we will go ahead and begin. I'm going to just start pulling some rods out, and we will start this evening's conversation on fishing. If you're like me, you love to fish, so I'd love to hear from you guys as we go through this. This is kind of going to maybe start something new here on the channel. I'm actually really enjoying the live streams. I think they're kind of fun. So. Yes, I have a lot of fishing rods. Too many. That's what my wife tells me all the time. Too many fishing rods. And I'm rigging them all up. So don't worry. So I'm actually trying to figure out where I'm going to go fishing tomorrow. I have no idea where I'm going yet. And my original plan was to fish a tournament tomorrow, but they're not having it. So, it's kind of hard to fish a tournament that they're not having. Yes. Sorry, bumped the camera. Yes, I'm still pulling out rods. I said I had a lot of them. It's a very true statement. I think I carry about 20 rods in my rod locker at all times. Some of them I won't rig though tonight. Just don't really worry about them. Like this one, this is my flipping setup. I'm not really too concerned about that. All right, so I'm gonna just jump right into some baits that I bought here this weekend at Tackle Shop. Right out the gate, I had to buy some more tungsten weights. These are the Strike King tungsten weights. They're really, really good. I got a 1/2 ounce and 5/8. I just needed some more. I don't know if you have seen these. I hadn't seen these before. I'm a huge booyah guy. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you can see this here. That is a booyah buzz bait. I absolutely love booyah. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of their spinner baits. I hadn't seen this one before though, and very, very impressed with it so far. This is the Booyah Covert series. And it actually comes with some really, really nice blades. And so I picked one of these up, figured to give it a shot. Number 2, this is another Booyah. I'm a huge Booyah fan when it comes to my spinner baits and stuff. I have yet to try one of these. I know they're extremely popular. As we get into this fall transition, the other night when we talked about fall baits, I actually mentioned the spinner bait. A lot of vibration, mimic a lot of the different shad that are in the lake. So, figure we would give that a shot. This is something that I use a lot of their this style of top water, and I mentioned this the other night. in the fall fishing. As a matter of fact, let's see here. I'll pull it out. I've actually got one tied on. Hold on. Stand by. Kane Walker. I really like this style of topwater. But I picked up a new one. And I'm actually going to tie this on. This is the Evergreen. Look at that. This is a really, really awesome bait. It has some features that I'm really, really looking forward to trying. It has an awesome feathered hook, feathered treble on the back. Comes in some really cool colors. But it's smaller. It's a lot smaller than all of the other ones. I mean, look at the, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but look at the size comparison. It is a lot smaller, style of a pencil popper. Here's what I am interested about, though. Look at the cup. I don't know if you can see this. Hopefully you can. It almost has, there you go, those are really good. It almost has a chug bug style cup to it. So I think it's going to put off a lot of water. But look at, and I'll try to do this here. Hold on. Look at the difference. You can really tell the difference in the size of the baits here when you start comparing the two. I mean, look at that. This one here is a lot smaller. And the fish right now in our lakes are feeding on small shad. So that's going to be a really, really good bait. I'm really looking forward to trying that. Another thing I picked up, this was something I haven't tried before. It's huge here in East Tennessee. And this is balsa flat-sided circuit board crankbaits. Crankbait. I'm usually not a particular region style, but I really wanted to try this. As a really cool color. It's one of my favorite concept colors. It's got the orange and the yellow and the blue. So I figured I'd give it a shot. It's actually a balsa bait. I'm probably going to tie this on, throw it a little bit tomorrow. It's going to shine, though, in that cold water. And as we get colder and colder, this bait here, I think, is really, really going to do well. So as I'm sitting here bringing tackle, first thing, I'm going to have a jig and some jigging spoon this time of the year. So I'm ready to go for tomorrow. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, we're still good there. Got a little itty bitty custom tied jig. We're getting into this time of the year where fish are feeding. They're feeding on crawfish. And a jig is a great way to imitate that. So I'm going to be throwing that a little bit probably tomorrow. Every time I ever fish a tournament, and I think it's because I've won money. Biggest fish I ever caught came on a big worm. But as you can see, I've got one rigged up here. I'm actually going to pull this one off, though. It's reached its end of its life expectancy, I think. Fishing it really on a lightweight. Gotta fish it really slow down through some of that deeper cover. So I've got that rigged up. Looking forward to throwing that tomorrow. Gotta put some hooks up. I don't know if you guys are like me, but sometimes my hooks just kind of stay. I stick them right here in my rod locker lid and kind of leave them there. But truth is, hooks are expensive. And even really expensive. They're crazy expensive now, but they've always been expensive. So are tungsten weights. So I'll put those up. Anyway, guys, I would love to hear from you guys. Like we have one person right now tuned in. So get the snail knot over there. This is a new hook that I'm actually trying right now. As I said, we're in the boat and we're just going to talk. This is actually the Eagle Claw hook, little Nico hook. So far, a fan hook. Set that there. Hopefully, yeah, you can still see me. A bit of moisture in my boat. I don't know what that's from. Wow. We did get some rain the other day, so I'm guessing that's probably what that's from. Oh, wow. Look. Let me tell you guys, if you're like me and I fish out of an older boat, the best thing I ever did was go to these Plano water type boxes. You're going to notice I pull stuff out of here. All of my baits have something. The only thing I do not keep, or two things I don't keep in a watertight box. My weights, because weights aren't going to have anything happen to them. Number two, my frogs. Yeah, I really don't know why I don't keep my frogs in that, but I don't. Probably ought to. But I don't, so it's either here or there. And then my spinner baits. My spinner baits are not in a watertight box. And I think the main reason is I haven't found a good watertight spinnerbait box. And if you know one, I'll tell you what, you comment down below and I will definitely check it out. Because spinnerbaits are not cheap either. You ever tie a knot only to realize that you just scorched the line? Yeah, that just happened. Guess that's what I get for not wetting it. So I'm going to kind of run down some of my setups while we're in here. We're in the boat and we can talk about it. I've run down some of my philosophy of fishing. I did that on a previous live stream, but I'm usually a person that cheaper is better, and I do hold to that philosophy because I can replace a reel, things like that. And so when this reel came out, I had to jump on it and try it because of previous success with a different reel in the same kind of category. Last year, I got the Corrado DC. And as you can see, this is on my jerkbait rod. Here in East Tennessee, we fish a lot. I do. I throw a jerkbait a lot. The Megabass Vision 110+2. And so when they came out with the SLX DC, I jumped on it because I wanted to try it out. I wanted to see what it's like. Got this paired up with a custom rod. This is a 6'6" medium that I built. And I absolutely love this setup. And I've got this set up to where This is a secondary jerkbait rod. This by far, this right here is my main jerkbait setup. I built this rod specifically for jerkbaiting. It's a 6/8 medium, moderate action. I got that spooled up with 8-pound test. I really want to get this 110 plus 2 down to its maximum depth and actually beyond. I think I'm pretty much hitting about 15 foot with this because I can throw it a long way. But a secondary jerkbait rod, because the line's fairly cheap, especially for the summer, is this rod right here. I can throw a jerkbait on it. Just a all-around really good rod. I'm throwing top water on it right now, so I got 14-pound mono. Really, really like that. So, and this right here, this is actually another secondary jerkbait setup. As you can see, I'm starting to throw a couple. And this right here has 10-pound fluorocarbon on it. I can do a lot of stuff with this rod. This is like a 6/10 medium, fast action. It's actually a drop shot blank, but it works really well for throwing little itty bitty light jerk baits like this right here. So I have 3 jerk bait setups, and I mentioned that the other day in a video that I had 3 of them. So let's see here. Let's check this one here out. That's why you check your line, especially a light line. One of the things a lot of times I do is I kind of make my own heads. I get them from a guy around here, put my own eyes on them, paint them. So one of the things that I've been doing here recently, and it's just really to try to get down to those fish, just throw in this on an itty bitty little swim bait and just slow. When I mean slow, I mean slow rolling it, and it's been working. So, as I said earlier, I'm a huge fan of budget. As you can see, Revo X. You're on a budget, $99. You've probably seen the Lose commercials, and that's fine. And my brother is a Lose fan, loves Lose, particularly the $99 Lose. Me and him disagree. That's fine, and that's cool. So. Trying to wipe all my tackle boxes off since they're all soaking wet. Nothing more aggravating than a soaking wet tackle box. Like I mentioned the other day, shad patterns. That's key right now. We want something with some shad. It's a shad color to it. And you're noticing I'm starting to put some stuff away. That's kind of how I organize my box, because my box is rather small. So you can see that I have a 16-foot boat, so I put my deep cranks down here on the bottom. That allows me to stack everything because I'm probably not going to be using that as much right now. So it kind of goes down and still. So they go on the bottom. Let's see here. Needs to go over here. So this is. Let me just talk about something really quick while I'm in my weight box. As you can see, this is just a standard Plano 3600. I do a lot of Carolina rig fishing. It's one of my favorite ways to fish a lizard, especially during the summer. And so you've got two options with your sea rig. You can use a big tungsten weight, which is what I've got here. However, this is just me. You can disagree if you want to. That's fine. You can comment down below. We can agree to disagree on this. But barrel lead weight. Don't think you can beat it because you're dragging a sea rig around and you get hung up and you have to break it off and you lose your weight. It's not a happy day. It's not a good day either. So that's what I store my weight in because I'm not really too concerned about the stuff inside game things. However, I'm right here. I'm going to put some spinner baits up. By far, favorite bladed jig, hands down, is this one right here. That's Thunder Cricket. That's my favorite color. So there you go. We're going to throw the Super Shad tomorrow, I think. So we're going to see that one there. That's that covert, really good looking spinnerbait. So if you are in the market for a spinnerbait, that is a really, really good looking one. And I would encourage you, go check that one out. I think you'll be pleasantly pleased with it. So this is something cool that I had never thought of. I found this buzz bait at a local tackle shop, and I take a lot of my skirts off. But this one here has a little blade on it. I don't know if you see that. That's a really cool concept. Don't know who came up with it, but I like it. A little bit of a fan of that one. All right, so I figured give it a little while, let a few people jump up here. What are some of you guys' thoughts on the MLF purchasing FLW. Anybody want to wade the deep waters on this one? It's huge right now. Huge discussion in the fishing industry. Curious what you guys' thoughts are on it. Here's my thoughts. This is just me. This is my personal opinions, and I'm prefacing everything that I'm fixing to say upon that. So don't shoot me because we might disagree. I don't like it. I understand. So let me say that. I understand shaking up the industry. I think the industry, to be honest, kind of needs to be shaken up. And I'm not against shaking up the industry. As a matter of fact, I think, I was listening to Mikey Ball's comment on it, and, he made a very true statement in relation to just YouTube. I mean, YouTube shook the industry because for the longest time, everything was so driven from a professional standpoint of being a professional angler. And now it's really not driven by that anymore. It's driven by, if you've probably noticed it, YouTube is becoming a huge part of the industry. I mean, a huge part of it. It is taking over. And I think, to be honest, this is just kind of my thing, my personal opinion on it. I think it's good. I think it's a really good thing. I don't currently do this just so I can have a YouTube channel and make money. I do it because I love to fish. Even though that was not my original plan with the channel. My original plan with the channel was to make money. But I've quickly come to realize that takes a lot of work. A whole lot of work. And not that I'm not against work. But at the end of the day, this is just where I stand on this. I have a son, I have a wife, I have a church that I pastor. YouTube can't be something. What's up, big game, James? YouTube can't be something that I do all the time. But back to what I'm getting at here. I have been and probably always will be a very loyal person to Bassmaster. From a young age, I dreamed of becoming a professional angler on the Bassmaster Elite Series. Before it was the Bassmaster Elite Series. Grew footage from, the 90s, when everything, when that was what everything was about. I just messed up. Hope you saw that. That was awesome. I'm just not a big fan of it. That's my personal opinion. You may disagree. That's fine. And we can, as I said earlier, we can agree to disagree. But I am still a big fan of the 5 fish limit. I think this is just me. From a viewership standpoint, and like anybody that's even big name is ever going to watch this video. But I think MLF is kind of boring to watch. And I've always been, when Bass got big with live, I was watching it. When FLW tried to jump on the bandwagon of keeping up with Bass, and that's pretty much what they were trying to do, I watched FLW live. I watched every day of the Forestwood Cup this past year. I watched on live, watched BLAT win the Bassmaster or the FLW tournament there at Seminole. So, and as I was this year, just watching the MLF, the Bass Pro Tour, it just was not for me. I think it's nowhere near as fun to watch guys not knowing what they have and what other people have and if other people are catching them. And I know the argument, I've listened to it and heard it, well, in every other sport, you can know the opposing side, and that is correct, and I understand that. You can know what the other team's scoring and so on and so forth. But back to some of the concepts of the new FLW Pro circuit. As I said, I know it's their first year, so you're going to see a lot of stuff change over the next couple of years as, things transition and stuff. But I'm not a big fan of merging the two, having 6 days of competition, 3 days with a 5-fish traditional limit, and 3 days with an MLF format. It's kind of weird, to be honest. I know that sounds odd, but it's just weird. I think you've either got to go one side or the other. Here's another big thing. And Smallmouth Crush mentioned this in his video, and it's such a true statement. A lot of these guys that fish, the BFLs and the Costa, for the past year and a half, they've been fishing for a chance, as they fished the 2019 season, to fish the FLW Cup in 2020. Well, with the merger, there is no FLW Cup next year. Or at least that has not been alluded to yet. They may change and probably will, just because of the backsplash from it. But I'm not as I said, that's just kind of where I am. I'd love to hear from you. What do you guys think about this FLW MLF merger? Where do you stand on the whole thing? Do you like the MLF format? Do you like what they're going to do next year, making it 2 formats in one? The one thing I am not the biggest fan of is all of these guys who, your Scott Martins, your Brian Thrifts, your David Dudleys, guys that have been at the top of the FLW and are good enough. And don't forget this, these guys are good enough to compete on the Bass Pro Tour. Do they get an invite to fish the Bass Pro Tour now? Or do they have to work their way up through the FLW Pro Circuit? What happens with that? To be honest, Luke Duncan, who has his little YouTube podcast, he made a mention of this. He mentioned this the other day in his video that he thinks, and I would probably agree with him, that right now behind the scenes there are some wheeling and dealing being made, especially with BASS. I know some of the guys like John Cox have already qualified for the Elite Series next year. Do they do what they did this past year, where Bass opened up and, gave some of these guys from the FLW Tour the opportunity just to jump straight in and fish the Elite Series? I know some people disagree with that, and that's perfectly fine. Where do you stand on that? Do I think it's fair to the guys who have fished through the opens for a certain select few who are pros on other circuits to join and just come right in. That's not for me to decide. To be honest, I think when the Bass Pro Tour was started this past year, Bass lost a lot of their field. A lot of them made that jump over to MLF, and I can't blame any of them from doing it. As a matter of fact, only a few of them remained. I mean, and it really showed this year. To be honest, I mean, if you go back, you look, even though he did not win Angler of the Year, Chris Zaldane was at the top, and he's been at the top for a couple of years now. But that's just those are kind of my thoughts on it. I don't know where you stand. You may disagree, and that's perfectly fine. So anyway, we ran down some of the new baits that I bought. We've kind of jumped into this topic of, the big giant news in the fishing industry. So now I'm going to kind of jump into what my plans are for tomorrow. I am going fishing tomorrow somewhere. I don't know where yet. Part of me is really thinking about fishing a tournament on a lake that I have only been on twice here in East Tennessee. That is Watauga. It's up in the mountains. I don't really know, though, just simply because I don't really know if I want to throw my money in on a tournament on a lake that I've never fished on before. But, hey, I could have an awesome day. You never know. So probably I'm still going to go fish Watauga. I've never been there. I think it would be kind of cool to do maybe a kind of a somewhat of a new lake breakdown for you guys. I love doing stuff like that. But as I said, I don't really know what my plans are for tomorrow. As I said, though, I am going fishing somewhere. I just don't know quite where yet. Maybe somebody will jump up here and let me know where I should go fishing tomorrow. I need to go somewhere. I'm kind of burnt out on fishing Douglas. Just kind of be honest. I wore Douglas out this past, this past summer. I fished there for literally a month straight. Actually, over a month. So I'm thinking about going back to South Holston. Really like fishing that lake. I don't ever do all that well on that lake. It's a very hard place to fish, especially this time of the year. As I said the other day, the fish are still extremely deep. I don't know why, but they are. And I think they'll start moving shallow here in the next few weeks and things like that. But so does anybody want to tackle the merger? Anybody want to jump up here? Big game James, you wanna chime in, bro? Let me know what you think on it. And as I said, I know a lot of people may catch this video later, so you comment. I'll get back with you as soon as I can. It's starting to get dark here, and I'm in the boat. I've got to get everything back somewhat situated for tomorrow. But what's on my rods for tomorrow? Let's see here. I got a spinnerbait, chatterbait, an underspin, flipping bait, a deep crank, big old glide bait. Got to have a glide bait, buzz bait, crank bait. If you're anywhere near the channel, you know a spoon. Both of them. I have a jigging spoon and a floater spoon. Are probably always going to be tied on. Simply because they catch fish. They catch fish everywhere that I go, everywhere that I fish. They just work. tell you one bait that I always have tied on. I don't know why. I never thought I would be that guy, but the Nico rig, I always have one tied up. Always. It's one of my favorite things to fish with. Well, we have been up here for almost 40, right at 42 minutes now. We've talked about quite a bit of that stuff tonight. So this is going to be something that I'm going to try to start doing every Friday night, or at least when I'm able. May not always be in the boat because 7 o'clock it's starting to get dark earlier and earlier. And eventually, it's just not, we're not going to do. So I'm going to move you guys. As you see, I've actually got you. You're actually on my computer. I'm going to do some moving around here. Got to move the cooler and all that fun stuff. Here, I think we're good. I'll get everything cleaned up. Well, guys, I hope you have enjoyed tonight's Fancast. So we're gonna try to do this every week. We tried to tackle some new baits that I bought. Probably the one bait that I'm probably the most excited about is the evergreen pencil style bait. Looking forward to throwing that tomorrow. We talked about the MLF. I've kind of gave you my personal opinion. I think. The reason why MLF decided to buy out FLW is because they needed a way for people to get in. So kind of the cons for me, I'm not the biggest fan of the way that they're doing the FLW tour. I think it's kind of wrong, to be honest. The pros, there are pros to this. They are dropping the entry fees on the Costa series and the BFLs, which I think is awesome. It was kind of getting too expensive. There wasn't enough money being paid out with what you were, giving entry fees. So that's kind of just one of the pros to me. So anyway, guys, I'm really sorry for this terrible lighting. The sun's kind of gone down on us really quick. So anyway, thanks for tuning in tonight for our first ever Friday Fishing Fancast. And we'll try to do this every week. Once again, guys, like, comment, share the video. And, man, if you disagree, here's what I'm saying, man. Drop it down in the comments. We'll have a dialogue about it. I'll tell you some of my pros, some of my cons. If you saw some of the baits and you say, hey, man, that's a really good bait, whether it be the shad spinnerbait or the new covert spinnerbait series from Booyah, maybe the evergreen. If you fish for that, let me know, and we will see you guys later. Hopefully get some footage tomorrow. I will let you guys know down in the comments either early in the morning or later on tonight what I plan on doing, whether or not I'm going to fish a tournament on a lake that I've never fished or just go fish that lake. I don't know yet. So anyway, catch you guys later.